Judiciary Chairman Jerry Nadler trying to thread a very fine needle, saying what his committee is doing is, in effect, an impeachment inquiry.
You're saying there's no difference between what you're doing now and an impeachment inquiry, correct?
In effect, we are investigating all of this, and we are going to see what remedies we could recommend, including the possibility of article of impeachment. We're not limited to that, but that's very much the possibility as a result of what we're doing.
In effect, a possibility? Well, that, as Speaker Nancy Pelosi is saying this.
We will proceed when we have what we need to proceed, not one day sooner. The decision will be made in a timely fashion. This isn't endless. And when we have the best, strongest possible case, and that's not endless either. I mean, it may be endless in terms of the violations of the law that the president is engaged in. But that's what I say to you.
But as far as other members of the committee are concerned, the impeachment investigation has already begun.
This is an impeachment investigation.
We are now officially entering into an examination of whether or not to recommend the articles of impeachment. So we have crossed a threshold.
I would say we are in an impeachment investigation.
That was Congressman Jamie Raskin, and he joins me now. How are you doing tonight? How are you, Congressman? I'm glad you're hearing the program tonight. I want you to clarify so much for us today, so thank you. You know, your committee is suing.
Thank you for having me.
I'm glad you're here. I'm glad you're here. Your committee is suing to obtain the grand jury material, and you're saying we're in an impeachment investigation. So why not just formally launch it? We're talking about, is this semantics? Is there a method somehow to the distinction?
Well, we were just confronted with overwhelming evidence of presidential obstruction of justice, 10 different episodes, and this astonishing, unprecedented occurrence of a presidential candidate openly welcoming foreign government support in the middle of a presidential campaign. So if this is not impeachable, I don't know what is. If the president's upset about it, he should be upset with the founding fathers, because they're the ones who built 4 different provisions mentioning impeachment into the Constitution, not just in Article 1 for Congress, but in Article 2, right after he's told his job is to take care that the laws are faithfully executed. And if he doesn't, he can be impeached for high crimes and misdemeanors like treason and bribery, and now obstruction of justice is one that's been validated by history to be just on the same par with bribery and treason.
So why is there confusion for people? Why is it not just the same statement? It's an impeachment inquiry, it's an investigation. Why is there kind of a back and forth about what to call it? Are we having the wrong focus here?
Well, yeah, I think people shouldn't get hung up on the semantics of it. The Constitution doesn't have a name for probe or investigation or inquiry. There's no federal law that require you give it a particular name, and it's not in the House rules that it has a particular name or procedure. It can either arise from the floor and be sent to the House for consideration and then sent back as articles, or it can arise from the committee itself. I think people are most familiar from the last presidential impeachment where it was sent from the floor, but there have been lots of impeachments, especially a lot of judicial impeachments that have arisen in the Judiciary Committee itself. So I wouldn't get hung up either on the nomenclature or else on the process. We've got the chair of our committee and the overwhelming majority of the Democrats on the committee saying we are in an impeachment investigation. We're being bombarded and buffeted by all of the president's high crimes and misdemeanors. What we need to do is to put it together to tell a coherent narrative to the American people. And I think that's really about a president who has converted the government of the United States into a money-making operation for himself, for his business, for his family and his friends. And it now pervades the entire executive branch of government.
So why is there a focus right now on the grand jury material? I know part of it is about, of course, Don McGahn and his statements, getting him to testify as well. But do you think there's some smoking gun, something compelling that's in there that's actually going to facilitate that discussion on impeachment as the only option?
Well, I think we've got to complete the investigation of what took place with all of the obstruction of justice. Don McGahn, of course, was the White House lawyer who was told by Donald Trump to go out and fire the special counsel in order to sabotage Mueller's investigation. And he refused to do so. So that was the only thing that remotely saved Donald Trump from the obviousness of his actions. But as Mueller emphasized in the hearing this week, it's obstruction of justice once you try to interfere with an ongoing legal proceeding, once you try to coach a witness or to scare or intimidate a witness or to somehow persuade a witness. All of those things are accomplished, completed crimes, even if somebody saves you from your own terrible instincts.
So
and some people did, but again, that's only an image. As a matter of law, he was not saved.
So one of the concerns I think people have after the Mueller hearing in particular, Congressman, is the idea of it's all in the report already. Why is it necessary? Help me understand why it's necessary to hear from Don McGahn to further get all of this evidence in the record.
Well, it's the same reason that Congress has always insisted on getting the underlying materials from special counsels or independent counsels in the past. It's one thing to get a generalized summary of events. It's another to get witnesses in their own words telling you precisely what happened. And of course, that's what makes things come alive for members of Congress and for the public. We're a democracy and the people govern here, and people want to know really what happened, and they don't want they want to give due process to the president, but they also want to know precisely what's been taking place against the people of the country. So we need to know this in detail, and we've got to add some vividness to the story so people understand it.
They don't want to give them a telephone, of course, getting it from somebody else. They want to hear it directly. But one of the things the American people have responsibility to do and their right to do is the idea of voting. You got a clock ahead of us. I mean, the 2020 election is upon us.
Yes.
In a little more than are you afraid that there's going to be a deadline that you did not anticipate that will run out the clock on the idea of even inquiring about this process?
Well, sure, but think of it this way. In America, there's always another election. I mean, it's built into the federal Constitution that we have House of Representatives elections every 2 years, which tells you that the founders wanted the House of Representatives, where impeachment investigations and articles arise, to be very closely in tune with public sentiment and public opinion. And then we elect presidents every 4 years. So there's always another election around the corner. And yet still, the founders insisted that there be impeachment as a weapon of last defense of the people's rights and the Constitution against a president who insists upon acting like a king and trampling the rule of law. This was really essential to the founders. Remember, they rebelled against centuries of monarchy, of dictatorship, and we're living in an age of resurgent authoritarianism and dictatorship all over the world. All of Donald Trump's friends, whether it's Orban in Hungary or Putin in Russia or Duterte in the Philippines or Sisi in Egypt, these are all strongmen dictators who want to control their societies in an authoritarian fashion. We're getting the same kind of attacks on the free press, attacks on elections, attempt to extinguish people's voting rights, attacks on immigrants, scapegoating people, including members of the opposition party. All of those are just trademark tactics of authoritarian despots all around the world. And it's happening here in America. We've got to use the means that were given to us by our founders. We need every kid in America and every citizen to rediscover the Constitution of the United States. Go and find those impeachment clauses tonight.
Well, there's no deadline on democracy. You prove that point.